with sour moods. I guess she's all I'm after. My little girl got a sour side, but you know I'm a sucker for some sweetness. Every weekend pulls you in, she knows your weakness. I tell her she's my princess, she just wants to be queen. I call her pineapple and she says, what do you mean? She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I need another double. She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I guess she's all I'm after.
Yeah, take a slice and look inside. You see the sweet, the nice, the harmless vice, the cold as ice. I need my pineapple consistently. I eat religiously, I need my sweetness instantly.
And every time that she's around, she's sweet, I'm signing this, she's sour. Just wait an hour, my little flower. And every time that she's around, she's sweet, I'm signing this, she's sour. Just wait an hour, my little flower. She might be everything I need, but she's so sour, yeah. But she's so sour. If only she was just as sweet, but she's too sour, yeah. Yeah, she's too sour. She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I need another double. She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I guess she's all I'm after. She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I need another double. She got an attitude, I call her pineapple, yeah. She's sweet with sour moods, I guess she's all I'm after.
Did you notice I've been lost, staying up to the break of dawn, hoping that you'll show a little warmth, but you know I feel the coldest when I'm wrapped around your finger. Did you notice that you put me through the ringer when you said that you needed solace that I can't offer you? I found a light in all this, something to get me through. Now every day is a challenge, top down, blowing smoke out. It's not good for my balance. It sounds great, but I'm burnt out. 'Cause now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am, 'cause leaving me so lonely only left me half a man. Now the highs aren't worth it, the drugs aren't working. Did you notice when I passed you yesterday that I was frozen? Thinking, flashing back, I can't live in the moment. My heart's still in the past, but we ain't spoken since you left me broken. When you said that you needed solace that I can't offer you, I found a light in all this, something to get me through. Now every day is a challenge, top down, blowing smoke out. It's not good for my balance. It sounds great, but I'm burnt out. 'Cause now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am, 'cause leaving me so lonely only left me half a man. Now the highs aren't worth it, the drugs aren't working. Now the drugs aren't working. I've taken all I can, but my heart's still hurting. This can't be all I am. I've been on my way up, now it's really far down. I don't think I'll feel it when I hit the ground. In October it feels like summertime. I keep falling for you like every night. Been communicating through satellites, yeah. It's black and white. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. I'm all up in the clouds when it's pouring rain. Ain't never coming down unless you call my name. Yeah, we should take it slow, just like day by day. Like day by day. You're the only sunset that I'll never forget. Red and orange sorbet, like it is the best yet. In October it feels like summertime. I keep falling for you like every night.
Hello there, hello there, hello there, YouTubes and Twitch. How the devil are we all? I'm very well. I thank you for asking. Now, today's episode, usually my episodes are like, I try to add a bit of humour to them, a few jokes and stuff. And whilst this won't be a totally joke-free zone, because we will be dealing with Tim Pool, who is himself a joke, so it's sort of impossible not to, really. It's going to be a much more somber, sort of serious, quite heavy episode today. And I make no apologies for it, okay? We're talking about some serious shit tonight. We're always talking about serious shit, but it's like really grim, serious stuff tonight. So, whilst I will still be screaming at Nazis, which is my typical shtick, as you understand, or just right-wingers, they're not necessarily Nazis tonight, but right-wing dickheads. It will be a much more angry episode, perhaps, and a much more downbeat, because it's negative tonight. Apologies, everyone. It's just going to be a bit grim. So if that's not your thing, because I understand, right? As much as YouTubers like to big themselves up and be all like, "Oh, this is really important," I understand perfectly well that basically you get in from work, you're sat in your pants eating sat in your underpants eating ice cream, trying to recover from a shit day at work, and you want to put on something entertaining on the YouTubes. That's what I provide here. That's what all YouTubers provide. There's nothing highfalutin or fantastical about what we do here. We're not at a coalface, so it's not difficult. We're not doing something tremendously skillful in, some of the video essayists and stuff put a lot of work into it. But basically, it's all live streamers and like the PewDiePies of this world who don't put a great amount of effort into anything. I understand what this is, okay? So I understand if you wanted to just put something on that's a bit entertaining and a bit fun and light-hearted, and you want to see some dick jokes from Kev, that tonight's not your show. Sorry. You can still stick around. I'm more than happy to have you, but that's not going to be what this show is tonight. So, thank you, and goodbye if you don't want to stick around. That's absolutely fine. I'll see you tomorrow for some... The Hollywood sign was changed to the word hollaboob. Someone did that, so that'll be tomorrow, that sort of thing. Anyway, Yes, so as you can see on the screen, that the meme for today is the Che Guevara thing, which is looking for like theme appropriate memes each day. Means you often have to look through like meme pages and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. The right wing ones though are so shit mostly. Seriously, the right wing A, you don't have any sense of humour, and B, can't fucking meme. They're absolutely dreadful. And most of their stuff is AOC stupid, which obviously isn't true. So like, shut the fuck up. But also, they're obsessed with her being a communist. So they put this. One of them put this image together, and I was just like, "That's actually really cool." Yeah, awesome, cool. I'll have that. Anyway, so yeah, that's the image for today. The more likes, the more Rory cats. He is with me tonight. He wasn't yesterday. Was I think the first show in ages where he hasn't. He didn't harass me or annoy me in any way. He was out and about doing his thing. But tonight he's fast asleep on the... Because this is a spare bedroom / office room that I do this from. And so there's a bed behind me. And he's on the bed. It's basically Rory's bed. He's virtually... Other than when I have the occasional person like stay around or whatever, like a family member or some shit like that that's, from out of town, it's Rory's bed. Seriously, there have been times when there haven't been a human sleeping in there, but it's so full of cat hair that I've had to change the sheets. So I'm changing bed sheets for a cat. Like, ridiculous. Anyway. So that's the kind of rock and roll lifestyle I lead. Anyway. So yeah, going to be a bit of a somber one tonight. And in keeping with that, a story that I didn't want to cover because it wasn't a story that I was aware of until a couple of hours ago. Unfortunately, a guy called Captain Sir Tom Moore, who British viewers will definitely be very much aware of. Americans might not, although it certainly became a viral story, so it's possible you have heard of him. Either way, he was last year. He's 100 years of age, but unfortunately died today. Last year, when he was 99, he took it upon himself to do 100 laps of his garden to raise money for the National Health Service, the health service here in Britain, which shouldn't need charity, but that's a thing. He raised £33 million, which is fucking incredible. I think he'd started off wanting to raise like 50 grand, like £50,000. And because he went viral, and everyone was so inspired by it, he raised 33 million, which is fucking intense, man. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, and it's not just that he raised money for charity, which is an amazing and beautiful thing for the NHS, which is an amazing and beautiful thing, but that he did so at a time when the country was really looking for a pick-me-up. We'd been in lockdown for a couple of months. Things were not going great. Things haven't been going great in Britain for a long time, but certainly, especially last year, was fucking atrocious. He would qualify as an absolute ledge. Definitely. Legend. Yes. He is a legend and always will be. He fought in the Second World War, so he literally he put his life on the line to defeat fascism in his youth, and then 70 years later raised a lot of money for the NHS, as well as bringing highlights to the fact that the NHS is underfunded, because he gave a lot of interviews saying the government should spend more money on stuff. He was knighted by the Queen, that's why he's Sir, and he was knighted like a couple of months ago or something, just before Christmas, I think it was. And then unfortunately contracted coronavirus and has died. Whether it's the coronavirus that killed him or not, who knows, but he had coronavirus, we know that. And at this point, I suppose it doesn't really matter in terms of like the grieving process and stuff. But he brought a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives, and lived quite an incredible life, it would appear. A real legend, and rest in peace, or rest in power, whichever, to an absolute legend. If the world had more Sir Tom Moores and fewer, let's say, fewer Michael Tracy's, more on him later, then the world would be a great deal better a place. Moving on to another phenomenally grim topic, although thankfully less mortally so on this occasion. As you can see on the screen here. Yeah, fewer Tories, absolutely. If you had more Sir Tom Moores and fewer Tories, the world would be a beautiful place. Or a more beautiful place, anyway. As you can see on the screen here, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a woman I've talked about for a long time, someone I've really enjoyed having experienced as a politician and all the rest of it. She's really... I had a lot of respect for her before all of this, and she's quickly became, I think, has become, I should say, my favourite politician, certainly in the US, of her generation, of my life, basically. Possibly, I don't know, Bernie Sanders, maybe, I don't know, but so I think she's probably better, just in the sense that I think she has the power to potentially revolutionise, and also in this, it's the reason that I'm now in my head. I'm now going down a sidetrack of trying to toss up between who's better, Bernie Sanders or AOC, and that's completely the wrong paradigm. Because as always, to steal the quote from Sir Isaac Newton, if I have seen further than any man, it's because I'm stood on the shoulders of giants. That AOC, having followed on from Bernie Sanders, is stood on his shoulders, and people will stand on her shoulders, and so on and so on. And that's how you build a thing. It's a beautiful expression of human progress, hopefully. So, but certainly, I think in terms of politicians who could go further than they currently are, AOC is definitely, without a doubt, my favourite. She's got a vivacity, and she's full of life. There's this kind of spirit to her that's a genuinely beautiful thing. I like her politics, certainly from the American perspective. In Britain, she wouldn't actually be that left-wing, really. She'd be reasonably sort of centre-leftist, kind of the centre of the Labour Party, I suppose, you know. Yeah. So she's, you know, it's all relative. But in America, certainly, she's a lot of... She's a beautiful person in a number of ways, both inside and out. She's an important figure, I think. Anyway, and she went on to... She does a lot of live streams. She's fantastic in terms of social media. I think I mentioned yesterday... Was it yesterday or the show I did on Sunday? She had over 400,000 people watching her live stream on Twitch, which is... That would be incredible numbers for... YouTube, and she's getting those numbers on Twitch. She's genuinely a potentially powerful force in terms of harnessing social media for political progress, and that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, and so she went onto Instagram to do another live stream. It's an hour and 20 minutes long, so I'm obviously not going to play you all of that, because as much as I've watched the whole thing and it's fucking intense, there are various points in it that are incredible. I thought I'd take you through this one. Well, I'm not even going to take you through it. I'm going to let her take you through it, basically, but intersperse it with a few bits of commentary about broader topics. She, in this first clip, she explains the January 6th insurrection from like her perspective as someone who was one of the potential targets for that. And then there's another clip later, which is an interesting and very brave revelation about her life.
And I immediately realized that I shouldn't have gone into the bathroom. I should have jumped in the closet. And so I opened the door when all of a sudden I hear that whoever was trying to get inside got into my office. And then I realized that it's too late. That it's too late for me to get into the closet. And so I go back in and
imagine that having to be a thing that an elected representative would have to experience. That decision making of, oh no, I shouldn't have hidden in the toilet, I should have hidden in the closet. Imagine that having to be a thing. again, America, and I've pointed this out on a few shows in the recent times since then. America, this is what the world sees of you now. You've got elected representatives not deciding on whether to vote for or against a certain bill, whether to support certain candidates for certain positions, the actual decisions a politician should have to make in those positions. No, she's having to decide whether to hide in a toilet or a closet because she's going to be murdered. Or she thinks she's going to be. Thankfully, obviously, she wasn't, but it was a very real possibility, as she explains in a second. That's fucking incredible. How far you've sunk. America used to be a place, for all its contradictions, its hypocrisies, its problems, was still a place that progress happened. Where politicians would argue about the potential for science to revolutionise the world, for whether it be the Industrial Revolution or the space race or whatever, right? There's a lot of incredible things that America is and can be, and yet what recent America has produced is an elected representative in the House of Representatives thinking she made the wrong decision. Again, not about supporting a certain policy or a certain act of Congress or anything like that, but whether to hide in a fucking toilet or a closet because a mob was going to murder her. You've become a very, very ugly thing, America. A phenomenally mutated evil has existed in your midst for far too long, and that needs to be destroyed.
I hide back in the bathroom behind the door. And then I just start to hear these yells of, "Where is she? Where is she?" And I just thought to myself, they got inside. And so I hide behind my door like this. Like I'm here, and the bathroom door starts going like this. Like the bathroom door is behind me, or rather in front of me, and I'm like this, and the door hinges right here. And I just hear, "Where is she? Where is she?" And this was the moment where I thought everything was over. And the weird thing about moments like these is that you lose all sense of time. In retrospect, maybe it was 4 seconds, maybe it was 5 seconds, maybe it was 10 seconds, maybe it was 1 second, I don't know. It felt like my brain was able to have so many thoughts in that moment, between these screams and these yells of, "Where is she? Where is she?" And so I go down and I thought I was going to die. And I had a lot of thoughts. You have a lot of thoughts, I think, when you're in a situation like that. And like also one of those thoughts that I had was, I just happened to, be a spiritual person and be raised in that context. And I really just felt like, if this is the plan for me, then people will be able to take it from here.
It's heartbreaking. It's genuinely fucking heartbreaking. For going to work, you should never... It should never, ever have to go through your head that if this is it, this is the plan for me. What the fuck kind of twisted situation has America gotten itself into that this is a thing? And this is why anyone who denies that this was terrorism is not just wrong, is actively part of the problem. Okay? Actively part of the problem. This is why, I mean, Donald Trump wanted to stop the electoral process, right? Joe Biden had won, both in terms of the electoral college and by massive margin in the popular vote. He'd won. And Donald Trump had tried everything. He'd gone through the courts. He'd tried to bully Mike Pence. He'd done all of that shit, right? And it hadn't worked. So he went to the mob. He went to the fucking fascist mob that he had helped in part raise, but had been raised before him. Fox News has been around since the 90s. They'd been doing this. They'd created the monster, and Trump used the monster. He'd have happily seen all of these people in Congress slaughtered. He'd have seen every single one of them slaughtered because he had one goal in mind: stay in power at any fucking cost. It didn't matter. And if you don't think that Donald Trump would have happily seen these people executed in order to fulfill his wish to stay in power, then you're wrong. And your willful ignorance is inviting the same shit to happen again.
I had a lot of thoughts, but that was the thought that I had about you all. I felt that if this was the journey that my life was taking, that I felt that things were going to be okay. And that, you know, I had fulfilled my purpose. Anyways, sorry guys. So anyway,
America, this is not acceptable. Genuinely, I'm finding it difficult not to enact violence upon my desk right now. I'm so angry about this. This is not acceptable. I mean, trying to stay within terms of service is always tricky for me. Know that, people. Whenever you see me online, however edgy or silly or out there my jokes or opinions might seem at times, note that I'm always fighting my inner demons to, like, stay within the terms of service. Tonight is extra specially so. I'm having to cage a beast inside of me right now. I'm trying not to say things that will get me banned. All I'll say is that anyone who did this, including and up to Donald Trump, should be in jail for the rest of their lives. You need to throw the book at all of these people. If we're going to do punitive justice, maybe you think that's an oxymoron, whatever. If we're going to do punitive punishment for crimes, then you need to actually make it a deterrent. These people need to never see freedom again. Ever. To lay down a marker that you can't fucking do this. You also need to get the police vastly reformed, because they were in on this. Be under no illusions. The motherfuckers who were standing down and letting people through, the motherfuckers who were waving the people through, the motherfuckers that were taking selfies with these fascist scum, those were not aberrations. Those were not bad apples. The police are riddled in America. They are to a degree in Britain too, but thankfully they don't have guns, so it's less, less lethally so. But the police in America are fucking riddled with fascist garbage. They're riddled with dishonest, untrustworthy scum. And they need to be removed from their positions of power and, in many cases, thrown in jail.
Anyways, as I'm hiding in this bathroom, hearing these yells of these men, or just just one man, going, "Where is she? Where is she?" I start to look through the door hinge to see if I can see anything. And there's like a door here and there's like another door here. So I'm like trying to look through two door hinges And so I look through this door hinge, and I see this white man in a black beanie bump, just like...
If this were a less serious topic, I might do a Tim Pool joke at this point. But it is a serious topic, so I won't.
Open the door of my personal office and come inside the personal office and yell again, "Where is she?" And I have never been quieter in my entire life. I was just...
And that's the point, in a wider sense, that they did want to silence her permanently. They did want to silence everyone who stands against Donald Trump. They were a fascist mob. That's precisely what they wished to do. Now, thankfully, she was silenced only for a very, very brief period, and in a kind of slightly more literal sense than in many free speech warriors' minds. But note that these are the same people who rant about free speech, and yet they actively sought to, and very temporarily did, silence a congressperson.
I don't even know if I held my breath, but I was just, here behind there, and I just started sliding down. And then all of a sudden...
Okay, I'm going to ask the person in chat who said, "Why are you a fan of a covert narcissist?" Are you referring to AOC? I'm going to talk just directly to that one person. Are you referring to AOC there? Because if so, you're just getting banned. I'm not even fucking joking. I'm not interested in having a fucking debate with you about this. I'm going to wait a second. Wait for them to get back in touch. If they've got the balls to. Oh, they've been... Okay. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. We're dealing later with her admitting that she's a survivor of sexual assault. I'm not interested in your bullshit. If you're going to pull some Michael Tracy shit on me, you get fucked over tonight. I'm not interested. I'm not fucking interested in debating the nuances of whether you think she's a bit of a narcissist or whatever, okay? She's a sexual assault survivor. She's an attempted assassination survivor. I'm not fucking interested in your silly dalliances into the world of like, oh well, I'm an ultra skeptic. I think she might be a narcissist. She might be doing this to emotionally manipulate people. What the fuck is wrong with you? What on earth is wrong with you?
I hear my staffer G yell out, and he's like, hey, it's okay, come out. So I'm like, I don't know, so deeply rattled. I'm still processing the end of my life when I come out.
Again, imagine that. I'm processing the end of my life. I'm processing the end of my life. For what? For saying no to a fascist? Mad. Mad and disgusting. Like, social distancing aside, I sort of feel like I want to give this person a hug and just say, like, it'll be okay. But the thing is, she's stronger than me. Emotionally, I'm not, there's no physical nonsense there. Emotionally, she's a lot stronger than I am. Because if this happened to me, I'd be weeping in a corner. Know that. If fascist mobs came after me and like came this close to actually murdering me, I'd be weeping in a corner. I wouldn't be like, because she explains in the whole hour and 20 minutes, she explains that the process she went through, and while she says like she was all caught up in it, she clearly handles herself with a level of aplomb that's really genuinely applaudable. I'd be sat in the... I wouldn't move. I'd be scared. I'd be really fucking scared. I mean, I'd be preparing myself potentially to fight and die if necessary, but I'd be fucking shitting myself. Know that. I would be terrified. So I feel like she doesn't need my hug. I feel like I need her hug, if I'm honest with you. Anyway. A noise went off. What happened with the noise? There was a noise. What have we got here? Apologies, everybody. Dark Cookie 20. Oh my! Thank you very much. Dark Cookie 23 gifted 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Thank you enormously. That's incredibly generous. Thank you, genuinely. That from the bottom of my heart. That's a wonderful thing. It feels gauche to do the advert at the minute, considering the subject matter. You know my links. Just whatever. But thank you to Dark Cookie. Thank you very much.
Come out, and this man is a Capitol Police officer. But the story doesn't end. It's a Capitol Police officer. There was no partner. Was not yelling, Capitol Police, etc., etc. But then it didn't feel right. Because he was looking at me with a tremendous amount of anger and hostility. And things weren't adding up. Like, there was no partner there. And no one was yelling. He wasn't yelling like, this is Capitol Police, this is Capitol Police. And he was looking at me in all of this anger and hostility. And at first, in my brain and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I just came from this super intense experience just now. Maybe I'm reading into this, right? Like, maybe I'm projecting, like something onto him that like, maybe I'm just seeing anger, but maybe he's not trying to be angry. But I talked to G, my legislative director, after the fact, and he said, no, I didn't know if he was there to help us or hurt us either. And G was actually like, this man came with so much hostility that G was sizing him up and didn't know if he was going to have to fight him. Like, that is how like aggressive the situation was in that moment. And
no, I don't know about that specific cop she's referring to, but there's no doubt, I think, that some of those police officers were definitely amiable to these people, and some of them may very well have been in on it. Again, I hate sounding like Alex Jones on this, but the more and more you hear about it, the more and more you begin to feel like this might have been something of an inside job here. This might have been something of an inside job. Not that every single member of the DC police force is in on this or whatever, but you don't need everyone. The old adage about, the small percentage of people who supported the American Civil War when it happened. You don't need all of the people in any given situation to support a thing. That mob was only a few thousand strong, but yeah, he was able to come within an ace of executing a lot of people. So I don't know about this particular cop, whether they did have good intentions or not, but I think a lot of them didn't.
And we couldn't even tell, we couldn't read if like this was a good situation or a bad situation. It was so like, like so many other communities in this country, like just that presence doesn't necessarily give you a clear signal if you're safe or not. And so the situation did not feel okay. And then he just looks at me and yells at me, and he just go down and then go to this other building. I'm not gonna like name the specific building, but he basically says, go down and go to this building. But he just says the name of the building. Doesn't say anything else.
Why was the cop wearing a beanie? Well, to be fair, it's cold. I don't think the beanie in itself is necessary. Like, Tim Pool has disgraced the name of the beanie, but I don't think wearing a beanie in of itself is some terrible crime. Oh, and yeah, she recorded this yesterday. Yeah, she did like an Instagram live thing.
But we're so rattled in that moment, and the situation felt so volatile with this officer that I run over, I grab my bag, and we just start running over to that building. Now, mind you, we weren't escorted. He didn't like come with us or follow us, or anything like that. So G and I just start running to this other building. We run down and we run to this other building. And it wasn't until we get to that building that we realize he didn't give us a specific location. He didn't give us a room. He didn't give us a place to go to. He just gave us, he said, go down. He told us to go to a certain level of a certain building. And that level of that building was street level. And so we can hear.
That seems pretty fucking sus.
Because the buildings were not secure yet. And this is around the time when the Capitol was being stormed. That we can like hear all of these rioters behind the glass of the doors.
Is that true, Bimarella? Do you have the link? Can you send me the link, please?
You know, and we have no specific location to go to. We're in the hallway. We're in like the Dunkin' Donuts of the basement, and we don't have any secure place to go. Bathroom.
As if there's is that literal? Like, is there an actual Dunkin' Donuts in the building? That's pretty intense. Oh, fucking hell. Apologies. Oh. My. What was I going to say? Yes. Yeah, she later goes on in the thing again. I don't want to like play the entire hour and 20 minutes, but she goes on to describe. She runs down there and it's near Katie Porter's office, who is you may remember her with the whiteboard. It became a meme thing. That she ended up barricaded in her office with Katie Porter and various other people. Going on about she ended up barricaded in there. And to the point where she was going on about potentially having to jump out of a window if they broke through, because they were like banging on the door and stuff. And she had oh, hang on, I need to go onto the. Sorry, apologies in terms of links. I need to actually go onto the page and then see it there. Yeah, she ended up having to change it because she was saying there's like a gym type. A gym on the floor of the building that she was on, which is like a staff gym. Like if you work there's a gym, right? That's cool. And so she was asking whether any of Katie Porter's staff had left any like gym like clothing around the place that she could wear, because she wanted to try and hide who she was. So she got Katie Porter's like puffer jacket and with like a hood and like a pair of sneakers because she was going like, if I have to jump out of a window, because she's in high heels this whole time, like she's in her like official like, I don't know what, Sunday best, but like that's every day because she has to dress like professional because she's a congressperson, right? And she's in high heels the whole time when she's like running down to this other building, and so she's in sneakers and this puffer jacket because she wants to try and blend in with the crowd, because she's thinking she might have to jump out the window and like try and sneak away through the crowd and stuff. Like, this is fucking madness. America, this is madness. Anyway, I'll play the second clip in a moment. There's this, which Bimarella, thank you very much for alerting me to this, and to Orion Cooper for actually for sending me the link. Hang on 1 second. I need to actually get this on the screen for you all. Now, this is the first time I'm looking at this, so I don't know much about it, but we'll have a look. bonus episode, inside the craziest meeting of the Trump presidency. Last month, Axios published Off the Rails, a series taking you inside Donald Trump's presidency, bonus edition, right. 4 conspiracy theorists march into the Oval Office. It was early evening on Friday, December the 18th, and more than a month after the Electoral College had been declared for Joe Biden, and 4 days after the Electoral College met in each state to make it official. How the hell did Sydney get in the building? White House senior advisor Eric Hirschman grumbled from the outer Oval Office as Sidney Powell and her entourage strutted by to visit the president. President Trump's private schedule hadn't included meeting appointments for Powell or the others. Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, former Overstock.com CEO Patrick Byrne, and a little-known Trump administration official Emily Newman, but they'd come to convince Trump that he had the power to take extreme measures to keep fighting. As Powell and the others entered the Oval Office that evening, Hirschman, a wealthy business executive and former partner at Kasowitz, Benson and Torres, who'd been pulled out of the quasi-retirement to advise Trump, quietly slipped in behind them. The hours to come would pit the insurgent conspiracists against a handful of White House lawyers and advisors determined to keep the president from giving into temptation to invoke emergency national security powers, seize voting machines, and disable the primary levers of American democracy. This is the thing, right? I fucking knew that this kind of shit would come out at some point, right? I've been sort of priming you as an audience for this, right? That the mad shit he was prepared to do in public, the mad conspiracy theory shit, the mad injecting people with bleach or trying to inject sunlight into people, what the fuck are you talking about? All of that shit, he was prepared to do that in public. So imagine the crazy fucked up shit he did in private. And all of that will get released because this is the thing. It's impossible to keep all of this shit secret. You can keep some very, 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 like, national security shit secret. Like, you know, there's some stuff like maybe he has to nuke a country that we'll never hear about because it's, like, national security or some shit, right? But most of the stuff, there are lots of people on each telephone call that you make as president. There's no, like, private fucking phone call there. There's in every meeting, there'll be people there who aren't, like, your loyalists or whatever. Like, fucking typists and fucking maybe journalists or whatever. So all of this shit's going to come out, and some of the crazy shit, like I don't know this story exactly, but the fucked up shit that will come out over the next few months and eventually years, I think will give you the fair indication as to why people like me were trying to sound the alarms on this motherfucker for years. Anyway. Hirschman took a seat in the yellow chair close to the doorway. Powell, Flynn, Newman and Byrne sat in a row behind the Resolute desk facing the president. For weeks now, ever since Rudy Giuliani had commandeered Trump's floundering campaign to overturn the election, outsiders had been coming out of the woodwork to feed the president wild allegations of voter fraud based on highly dubious sources. And that's the thing. Trump is a narcissist, unlike AOC. Trump is actually a fucking narcissist. And a boomer prick to boot, who, and like boomers, are very easily swayed by like Facebook meme propaganda conspiracy bullshit. So he wanted to believe the election was stolen, people were happy to feed that, and so it goes on and on. He's an awful person. He needs to be in jail. Trump was no longer focused on any semblance of governing agenda, instead spending his days taking phone calls and meetings from anyone armed with conspiracy theories about the election. For the White House staff, it was an unending sea of garbage churned up by the bottom feeders. What a phrase. Powell began the meeting with the same baseless claims that now has her facing a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit. She told the president that Dominion voting systems had rigged their machines to flip votes from Trump to Biden, and that it was part of an international communist plot to steal the election for the Democrats. Note, in response to a request for comment, Powell said in an emailed statement to Axios, quote, "I will not publicly discuss my private meetings with the President of the United States. I believe those meetings are privileged and confidential under executive privilege, and under rules of the legal profession, I would caution the readers to view mainstream media reports of any such conversations with a high degree of discernment and a healthy dose of skepticism," unquote. That's interesting that you would tell other people to use skepticism, considering you're literally saying there's a communist plot by the ghost of Hugo Chavez to steal the election, you dopey fuckhead. Powell waved an affidavit from the pile of papers in her lap, claiming it contained testimony from someone involved in the development of rigged voting systems machines in Venezuela. Voo-voo! She proposed declaring a national security emergency, granting her and her cabal top-secret security clearances, oh my fucking god, and using the US government to seize Dominion voting machines. Hold on a minute, Sydney, Hirschman interrupted from the back of the Oval Office. Quote, "You're part of the Rudy team, right? Is your theory that Democrats got together and changed the rules, or is it that there was foreign interference in the election?" Unquote. A good question. Giuliani's legal efforts, while replete with debunked claims about voter fraud, had largely focused on allegations of misconduct by corrupt Democrats and elected officials. Quote, "It's foreign interference," Powell said, and then added, "Rudy hasn't understood what this case is about up until just now," unquote. I talked about this the other day, didn't I? The Alex Jones versus QAnon thing. That when you get two competing conspiracy theory bullshit together, they collide and they can't, they're not compatible or whatever. And so they either war about it and call each other deep state, CIA, NSA, New World Order shills. One is convinced. So it's like, imagine it like plate tectonics, right? Sometimes you get impact craters where they both rise in the craziness, like the Himalayas. Sometimes you get like the San Andreas fault where they rub up against each other and cause damage. And sometimes, in this case, you get a subduction zone where one plate will go underneath the other plate. That's right, motherfuckers. GCSE Geography. Boom. Where are we? In disbelief, Hirschman yelled out to an aide in the Oval Office, quote, "Get Pat down here immediately," unquote. Several minutes later, White House counsel Pat Cipollone walked into the Oval Office. He looked at Byrne and said, "Who are you?" Oh, shade. The meeting was already getting heated. White House staff had spent weeks poring over the evidence underlying hundreds of affidavits and other claims of fraud promoted by Trump allies like Powell. The team had done the due diligence and knew the specific details of what was being alleged better than anybody. Time and time again, they found Powell's allegations fell apart under basic scrutiny. Yeah, what a surprise. But Powell, fixing on Trump, continued to elaborate on a fantastical election narrative involving Vuvuzela, Iran, China, and others. She named a county in Georgia, that's the state of the United States rather than the republic in the Caucasus region of Europe, birthplace of Joseph Stalin, who lives in a pineapple under the sea. Joseph Stalin. That's a thing. She named a county in Georgia where she claimed she could prove that Dominion had illegally flipped the vote. She should have done that in court then, really, shouldn't she? Hirschman interrupted to point out that Trump had actually won the Georgia county in question. Quote, "So your theory is that Dominion intentionally flipped the vote so we could win that county," unquote. As for Powell's larger claims, he demanded she provided evidence for what, if true, would amount to the greatest national security breach in American history. They needed to dial in one of the campaign lawyers, Hirschman said, and Trump campaign lawyer Matt Morgan was patched in via speakerphone. By the way, we will get back to AOC. I promise you. Right, we'll get back to AOC and all the rest of it. By now, people were yelling and cursing. The room was starting to fill up. Trump's personal assistant summoned White House Staff Secretary Derek Lyons to join the meeting and asked him to bring a copy of the 2018 executive order that the Powell Group kept citing as the key to victory. Lyons agreed with Cipollone and the other officials that Powell's theories were nonsensical. It was now 4 against 4. Like overtime in ice hockey. Anyway, Flynn went berserk. The former 3-star general, whom Trump had fired as his first national security advisor after he was caught lying to the FBI and later pardoned, stood up and turned round from the Resolute desk to face Hirschman. By the way, it should also be pointed out he doesn't have an America First policy. Flynn has a Turkey First policy, it would appear. That being the country rather than the bird. Quote, "You're quitting. You're a quitter. You're not fighting," he exploded at the senior advisor. Flynn then turned to the president and implored, "Sir, we need fighters." "Oh, please go back to jail, Flynn. You deserve to be in jail." Hirschman ignored Flynn at first and continued to probe Powell's pitch with questions about the underlying evidence. Quote, "All you do is promise but never deliver," unquote, he said to her sharply. That's very true. I mean, he's a Trump advisor, so he's probably also filth, but Hirschman does appear at least to have a fucking brain in his head, unlike many of the people in that room. Flynn was ranting, seemingly infuriated about anyone challenging Powell, who had represented him in his recent legal battles. How had that gone for him? Finally, Hirschman had enough. Quote, "Why the fuck do you keep standing up and screaming at me?" he shot back at Flynn. "If you want to come over here, come over here. If not, sit your ass down." Look, you want to step outside and sort this out like men? You fuck. Lovely stuff. Again, he's a Trump advisor, so I probably wouldn't like him, but I'd have a beer with this dude, I think. I think so. He sounds like an alright chap. And if we can ignore politics, maybe. Flynn sat back down. Yeah, because he's a quitter. He's a quitter. He's not a fighter. He's a fucking idiot. The meeting had come entirely off the rails. What a surprise. He couldn't keep it on the rails in public. God knows what it's like in private. That being Trump. Byrne, backing up Flynn, told Trump the White House lawyers didn't care about him and were being obstructive. Quote, "Sir, we're both entrepreneurs and we both built businesses," the former Overstock CEO told Trump. "We know that there are times that you have to be creative and take different steps," unquote. That they're like trying to wheedle him into a fascist takeover of America. We need to take different steps. We need to be creative. We don't need to follow laws or anything. No, just be creative. The Munich beer hall putsch was very creative, wasn't it? This was a remarkable level of personal familiarity, given it was the first time Byrne had met the president, because they all think that he's like their daddy, even if they've never met him before. It's pathetic. All the stanchions and buffers between the White House and the outside world had crumbled. Byrne kept attacking the senior White House staff in front of Trump. Quote, "They've already abandoned you," he told the president aggressively. Periodically during the meeting, Flynn or Byrne challenged Trump's top staff, portraying them as disloyal. "So do you think the president won or not?" Not. At one point, with Flynn shouting, Byrne raised his hand to talk. He stood up and turned around to face Hirschman. "You're a quitter," he said. "You've been interfering with everything. You've been cutting us off." No, they're going to have like an exchange. I need to do voices, don't I? Okay. Hirschman. What voice should I do for Hirschman? "Do you even know who the fuck I am, you idiot?" Hirschman snapped back. "Yeah, you're Pat Cipollone," Byrne said. Wrong, you idiot." That was so you could tell the difference. Fucking hell, Kev. This is broadcasting at its best. Anyway, the staff were now on their feet, standing behind what... How long is this fucking article, by the way? Oh, I'm not reading all of this bollocks. Jesus. I'll read this off air and get back to you. There was sloppy spelling errors. No shit. I'll read the last little bit for you all. It didn't take long for the yelling to start up again. They were now in hour 4 of a meeting unprecedented even by the deranged standards of the final days of the Trump presidency. Oh yeah, like, you know, people were doing like the downfall memes, like, you know, the fact that it's infamous meme of the Hitler in the bunker from the film Downfall, and he like asks everyone to get out, and then he's just screaming at the generals. Like, it's never been more appropriate, I imagine, than the final days of the Trump administration. Like, he literally ordered a 21-gun salute for himself, even though he never had the balls to actually join the military. Now it was Meadows' turn, blasting Flynn for trashing him and accusing him of being a quitter, which seems to be Flynn's only fucking thing. Don't you dare challenge me about whether I'm being supportive of the president and working hard, unquote, Meadows shouted, reminding Flynn that he'd defended him during his legal troubles. Trump and Cipollone who frequently butted heads, went at it too, over whether the administration had the authority to do what Powell was proposing, which was the Insurrection Act. Powell kept asserting throughout the night that she had, or would soon produce, the evidence needed to prove foreign interference. She's been saying this for fucking months now. And not just that, but she keeps interspersing either we're going to get the evidence or we have the evidence. No, you don't, and no, you aren't. Where are we? She kept insisting that Trump had the legal authority he needed to seize voting machines, but she did not have the goods. Powell at one point turned to Lyons and demanded, "Why are you speaking? Are you still employed here?" Unquote. The staff secretary, who had already resigned, laughed and joked, quote, "Well, I guess I'm here until midnight," unquote. It was after midnight by the time the White House officials had finally said their piece. They left that night fully prepared for the mad possibility Trump might still name Sidney Powell special counsel. "You have our advice," they told the president before walking out. "You decide who to listen to." Wow. I'm gonna read this one off air and get back to you, because that's a bit too long, I think, for me to be going through the entire thing. Furious throw pencils. What? You need different hats. He will make many calls and have many meetings. Fegaline? What? What's Fegaline? Should I know what that is? I don't know. I need different hats. Maybe. Anyway, yeah. So that's a thing that happened. I cannot wait to see what the fuck that was all about. I'll read that one off air, I think, and I'll get back to you. Herman Fegaline. Oh, don't make me fucking Google stuff. Jesus. Oh, okay, I'm with you. Right, yeah. Sorry, yeah, it's a Nazi thing. I mentioned the meme. For fuck's sake. Yes. Right, I'm with you. It's a Hitler meme. It's from the Downfall thing, yes. Okay. Well, and from the real actual Hitler thing, yeah. Anyway. The real actual Hitler thing. There's a fucking reality show waiting to happen. Anyway. So, back to AOC. Which is the bit of the show I'm actually prepared for. So, you know. Yeah, we heard from her, obviously. We heard her commenting on, not commenting, describing her experiences of January the 6th and all the rest of it, and how fucking awful that was. She also made another revelation, because, I mean, we talked, Christy and I, about the psychological impact that this would have on people who were involved in terms of the victims of this. And in doing so herself, AOC, describing all of that, she made a revelation about her life, which was genuinely very touching.
I'm a survivor of sexual assault. And I haven't told many people that in my life. But when we go through trauma compounds on each other. And so whether you had a negligent or, a neglectful parent, or whether you had someone who was verbally abusive to you, whether you are a survivor of abuse, whether you experience any sort of trauma, in your life, small to large, these episodes can compound on one another. there's no, something really big happening to you, and then you deal with it, and then you move on, and then when something else happens to you, you deal with that, and then you move on. All of our experiences make us who we are. And that's also to say that most people live with trauma. And it's not and that doesn't even diminish, any of the trauma that any one of us may have been through. But it is to say that there is a community of so many people who can understand.
Yeah. I'm glad that AOC is the phenomenally, incredibly strong individual that she is. I'm glad that she felt comfortable, or at least okay, with making that revelation to the world. I'm glad she's, at least to the extent where she's able to function, gotten past her experiences, and I send all the love in the world to her. She's one of the bravest, strongest people. It's an incredible thing, and a wonderful person who I hope is able to deal with the most recent shit she's had to on the 6th and come out the other side as strong or stronger still. She's a beautiful person. Now, as inspiring as AOC is, and she undoubtedly fucking is, in many respects, like the Einstein theory of the for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, as inspiring in a positive way she is, there are people in the world who are equally inspiring in a negative way. That being that I want to scream and scream and scream. Most of the reaction to Newton, not Einstein, my apologies. So Newton gets a second reference tonight. Good God. Anyway. I don't know. Again, Einstein was building on she stood on the shoulders of giants, wasn't I? Anyway. Alright, I get it. Fucking Newton, you dickheads. Anyway. So this, most of the reaction to AOC's revelation about her being a sexual assault survivor, and indeed her telling her story of having been involved with the January 6th thing and all the rest of it. Most of that reaction was incredibly positive, and I'm very proud that there are a community of people online and indeed in real life who are very supportive of victims and survivors. Survivors is the word, isn't it? Of those things. Unfortunately, the world is not a perfect place, as I think we all know. And unfortunately, as great as AOC is, Michael Tracy might be the equal and opposite reaction of shit to AOC's brilliance, I think. AOC put out that video, shared on Instagram, so that she is a survivor of sexual assault. So that is the tweet to which Mr. Tracy, sock-sniffing weirdo that he is responding. And he says, "This is a masterclass in emotional manipulation, a genuine political/rhetorical skill. Gotta hand it to her." Michael Tracy is unfettered, unalloyed, completely undiluted scum. Any person who hears a story like this and reacts in that way is garbage. Absolute fucking garbage, okay? Know that. It's not... I mean, how twisted and wrong in your own fucking head do you have to be to hear something as wrought as a person on the verge of tears telling you that they're a survivor of sexual assault and go, "Oh, well, that's emotional manipulation." You fucking cock. You utter prick. Now, I want to put this into context for everybody. And this, by the way, this wasn't the only thing he did. I might go into a little bit more of the nonsense he's been publishing in the last day. He went after DiGiorno pizza as well, which is just fucking mental. Anyway, I want to point out, this is Michael Tracy here on the left, this gelatinous blob of dog shit. And this is Maxine Waters. Pretty cool person. Anyway, he interviewed her during the first, I believe it was, during the inauguration of Donald Trump in 2016. Note the very, very minor contact physically that is made between Maxine Waters and Michael Tracy. He described this as him being shoved. He also described it as physical assault.
You say Russia's not our friend. Was Obama mistaken to forge military cooperation with Russia in Syria and to try to get a START treaty?
You and I have a different agenda, young man. I'm out to impeach this president. Get that straight. I'm out to impeach the president. I'm not going to be diverted by people who are Obama haters.
Do you think... You say Russia's not our friend. Was
Again, just note that, right? We'll just go through it slowly. Look, she makes a tiny wrist-on-wrist. Just look at that. Tiny, a graze of his upper arm, or lower arm, I should say. He described that as physical assault. He said that was a shove from Maxine Waters. A 70-year-old woman lightly grazed his arm, brushed against him, if you will. And he described that as physical assault. This fetid shitbag, this pile of dog shit wrapped up in a human suit, is in no position to talk about other people being emotionally manipulative or trying to overplay physical assault for political reasons. He is absolutely that, okay? The fact that he was blocking her path as well, whilst putting a thing in her face, frankly, she would have been okay shoving him. But she didn't even do that. He's in no position to be making those accusations. He's scum. He's scum. Anyway, talking about people who are weird, snowflakey scum, to round off tonight's proceedings, we're going to take a look at a Tim Pool video on the matter. Because he's taking a similar approach in many respects to Mr. Tracy, albeit not nearly as disgusting, but still pretty disgusting. Yeah, so we'll take a look at young Mr. Beanie Man himself, a person who I think it's safe to say, along with Ben Shapiro, is at the head of the push to ensure that when democratic socialism comes to America, the first thing socialised is AOC's feet pics. I think that's definitely on the agenda for those kind of chaps. Anyway, yeah, in response to, again, this is the video, and again, he's gone to the Daily Caller, so, you know, right-wing shit. Anyway, this is the video that I showed, or parts of which I showed you, of AOC talking about the attack on the 6th and how that shook her up, and of course her being a survivor of sexual assault. How dumb do we think Tim's take's going to be? Well, it's Tim, so it's going to be very, very dumb. Let's take a look.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is truly gifted, one of the most talented people on the planet right now, and I mean this 100% literally. She may be one of the best people in terms of generating social media attention and press, and again, I mean this literally. She would probably be one of the best marketing individuals for any company trying to figure out how to maximize viewership. She is fantastic at this. It's why...
See, Tim's a fan of a backhanded compliment. Because he doesn't mean this in a genuine way. He's saying, similarly to Michael Tracy, although he's not as stupid as Michael Tracy, so he doesn't do it in the overtly, like, offensive way that Tracy does. He'll say, like, oh, she's really good at getting social media attention. So in other words, she's being emotionally manipulative He's doing the same thing, but he's couching it as a positive so that he doesn't come across as quite such a piece of shit. Because if you just came on and started like outwardly attacking a sexual assault survivor on YouTube, that might get you taken off. It should definitely get you taken off, but this is YouTube we're talking about, so it only might do.
She rapidly gains followers. Now, in the political space, I don't respect it. I get it. This is what we're seeing now, the clapback, snapback.
Even though Donald Trump did all of that and, you know, Tim Pool sucked his dick for 5 years.
Politician that generates attention and donation through emotional plays, essentially just really good PR. Donald Trump was really, really good at this, okay? He was really good at generating press for himself. The problem was it generated a ton of negative press with mainstream media. They saw it as an opportunity to play to their audience, Orange Man bad, Trump is awful, for a variety of reasons. Now, Trump deserves a lot of criticism, no joke, but Trump didn't deserve a lot of the fake news. Well, I'm sorry, Trump didn't deserve any of the fake news and the lies and the smears and the exaggerations.
Tim, fake news, lies, smears and accusations are entirely what you do. They are your business model. Again, you're in no position to judge. Oh, I'm glad your mum stumbled onto my old Manosphere videos, Deanna. Did she enjoy them? Is it interesting to know that your mum enjoys dick jokes? Oh. Am I a bad person? No. Am I a strange person? Yeah.
But Trump, in many ways, he did bring it upon himself. Yeah, I know. Here I am, blaming the victim. Oh, poor Donald Trump. Trump learned early on about how to game the media. I mean early on. Well, probably before I was alive. But in his presidency, when he was running, he knew how to generate free press. I think the estimate was $5 billion in free press for Donald Trump.
Yeah, actually, looking back as well. Although, actually, I mean, it's a thing as well that I'd mentioned at the time. The fact that the press was so addicted to Trump, and they were, let's be under no illusion, whether it's Orange Man bad or Orange Man good, and that was basically the two things, right? Either you were like CNN or MSNBC saying Orange Man bad, or you were Trump, you were Fox saying, you know, Orange Man brilliant, let's suck Orange Man dick. The press were addicted to Donald Trump because he's good for ratings. And trust me, as a person who's covered a lot of Donald Trump stuff, I know people watch that shit. It's entertaining. But I think we will look back in time and think how crazy it was that the press basically made Donald Trump. Whether it be via The Apprentice, which made people think he was a good businessman, when just categorically across the board, if you look his entire life, he's a fucking shit businessman. He's a terrible, awful businessman who's been given everything in his life and has failed upwards constantly. It's been a shambles, an indictment upon capitalism. It really has. So whether it's The Apprentice making people think he's a good businessman, or whether it's the press constantly giving him the story, whether it's good press or bad press, it's always he's setting the agenda. He seems like the important dude. And that's worth its weight in gold. Like Tim says, 5 billion. In terms of actual airtime, it might be worth 5 billion, but it's almost an immeasurable number. It's almost like you can't put a number on how fucking important, or you can't put a number on how important it is to have you be seen as the guy. You're the person everyone is talking about. It makes you seem presidential even when you're obviously not.
We're now seeing a story this morning, a viral trend. Strangely, Michael Tracy, journalist. I think Michael Tracy is great. Had him on the IRL podcast.
What a surprise! He thinks Michael Tracy's great. You know, the guy who's going about emotionally manipulative because she said she was like sexually assaulted and survived it. Tim, you're scum.
I think he's a good dude. And he's trending nationwide at number 10, which is odd for him.
Anything he puts his
because
hand.
he criticized AOC for using emotionally manipulative content, essentially. Well, look, I'll put it this way. Right, here's the story we have that's going viral so you can get an understanding of what's going on. Okay.
Also, note that Tim there doesn't say whether he supports or doesn't support that. He's basically using Michael Tracy as the jump-off point, right? So, it's the baseline is, she is being emotionally manipulative, but he gets to say that without saying it. So he can't be, like, you can't really flag the video for that, because he's just quoting what another person said. He's a coward, basically. Like, at least Tracy says the thing. Like, it's disgusting and abhorrent, and he should be fucking ashamed of himself and shunned from society and have to live in a cave like a wild hermit, man. But at least he's, like, saying the thing he believes, rather than Tim Pool cowardly, spinelessly, just quoting another person.
Ocasio-Cortez describes hiding in her bathroom during riot, questions whether officer purposefully put her at risk. I listened to her story.
Yeah, thank you for the someone sent me a link to he lost a billion, millions of dollars, whatever, on an airline. All of his businesses have failed. He lost money in casinos, which are literally only there, to Trump this is, literally only exist to take in other people's money. That's all they do. That's their entire business. And he failed at that. He lost money doing that. He tried to set up a rival to the NFL, which failed. He's had various hotels and golf courses, which have failed. He's everything. The only thing that kept him going in the last few years was the enormous amount of money he got from The Apprentice. And then the presidency and the corrupt dealings since. Apparently, pardons were going for $2 million apiece. Yeah.
And I can respect that she was terrified. And I've
Can
been
you,
in
Tim?
many extremely dangerous situations where I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if my life is at risk. And it really is.
No, there's a slight difference, Tim. A, you put yourselves in those situations. You have gone to protests and stuff, and you know that can happen. She was just at work in an office. Now, it's an important office. The idea that these are comparable situations is a fucking joke. You should be ashamed of yourself. Again, I know you're not, because you're a shameless individual.
It's hard to drive that emotion that you felt to another person to explain the story, because they just won't get it. They weren't there, they just won't get it. I will say the weird thing is how she kind of derides this officer who actually tried to save her life. That's what I don't get. She makes it seem like this officer was scary and angry and coming at.
Well, maybe maybe that's just true. You dickhead. Like, maybe that's just a thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know that you can. Sorry, I got distracted there. I'm watching football as well. I didn't feel like that was okay to do when we were talking about that, but now with Tim Paul's on, I've got the football on as well, so I got distracted. The Blues nearly went 1-0 up. It doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, maybe she's just telling the truth then. Maybe he was scary and horrible. Maybe he was in on it. Who knows? And also, I don't think she was deriding him. She was just explaining the situation. She didn't say he was definitely a fascist trying to lead us into the jaws of the fascists. She was just explaining the situation. So saying she was deriding him is interesting, especially given that you were very excited by all of this and by the January 6th events, and they killed a cop. The ultimate deriding, you would say. Deriding him to the ultimate extent with a fire extinguisher.
Is that because the left has just a natural predisposition against police officers? Because it's
a natural predisposition. So it's not based on, like, lived experience. It's not based on the fact that every single person has, like, a negative story to tell about their interactions with police, which gives you the indication that, maybe there's something wrong with the police. No, it's just a natural predisposition. These crazy leftists, there's no reason to be against the police. Suck a dick, you fucking bootlicking scumbag.
I'll give you the long story short. Capitol police officer comes into her office and says, you need to go and get to another building. And she actually says he was scaring her and was angry. It's like, why would you do that? Like, this cop saved you. He's risking his life.
We didn't necessarily save her at all. And he's not necessarily risking his life. He might be in on it. We don't know yet. There needs to be a full, proper, like, independent investigation type thing, Tim. But you're going to just jump to the conclusion that this guy was definitely good and AOC is definitely bad. And this is the thing that really annoys me about Tim and his ilk, right? They will go after the safe targets. AOC's a safe target, because if he attacks AOC, AOC's not going to do anything. She's a really nice person. She's just going to ignore him, because who gives a fuck? Confronting the fascist menace that exists in the United States, Tim, is the number one, I would say, the number one patriotic thing to do. The number one actually patriotic. Not patriotism in the dumb sense that Trump means it, but in an actual sense of wanting the best for the people around you. Okay? It's the number one patriotic duty of all Americans, and indeed all people in the world, because it's the number one threat that exists in the world right now. Going after fucking Nazis is difficult, trust me, as a person who's been swatted, Tim, by Nazis, using the police as their weapon, of course. My life was endangered because of fascists, because I've attacked fascists. You go after the difficult target because it's the righteous fucking thing to do. Tim Pool goes after AOC because he's a spineless goon. Fucking bootlicking trash.
If a Capitol officer died in these riots, the people riding through these buildings were many of them were crazy. A lot of them were befuddled and bewildered. I digress.
So they're either crazy or bewildered. Not just that they were a fascist menace who were trying to take over America. See how he fucking downplays it? Deriding a police officer is bad. AOC's bad for deriding a police officer. Oh, the people who actually killed a police officer? The people who tried to override American democracy? Oh, they're just a bit deranged and sad. Oh, it's not a big deal. Nah, whatever. Fuck you, Tim.
Listen, here's my point. I'll show you the latest bit of AOC drama, I suppose, and fully
drama.
Before we can get started. We're trapped in this world.
AOC drama. Describing the time that people tried to assassinate her, whilst at the same time openly telling the world that she was a survivor of sexual assault, is drama.
Pool, my friends, we are being sucked into the cyclone of AOC's ability to dominate the media. Right now,
yeah, get used to it. Cry harder, you fucking bitch.
Most of you know, the story I really care about is the GameStop rebellion, because I've been covering it incessantly. But I also must admit to myself,
GameStop
so
rebellion. Can we
we
stop sucking the dick of the GameStop people now? Sorry, it was interesting. It's a fantastic expose of the fucking ridiculous nature of the capitalist system, of the stock market, casino bullshit. It was a beautiful thing. And it was an interesting meme. But let's not pretend it's an uprising or a rebellion or a revolution. It's not. It's some largely middle-class pricks on the internet doing a slightly cool thing. Now that's fine. I'm not trying to rag on them. I'm not saying they're bad people or anything like that. Individually they might be, but as a group, as a collective, they're not bad people doing a bad thing. They're interesting people doing an interesting thing. But that's it. Rebellion. The fuck? Do you understand the meaning of any fucking words, Tim? Honest to God, do you understand anything?
And as much as I want to make sure everyone's focused on what's happening, with 8+ million people trying to short squeeze out hedge funds and stick it to Wall Street, at a certain point we got to chill, let the news cycle carry on. But I can talk to you about the tactics of political and emotional manipulation and what people are saying about Michael Tracy,
because it's what you do.
Tribalism, agitprop, etc. Let me read you the story first and talk about what's going on with AOC. The Daily Caller reports Democratic New York Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez questioned Monday whether a Capitol Police officer purposefully put her at risk during the
It's interesting that the Daily Caller would specifically target that part of it. Not like the actual interesting, genuinely historically worthwhile, descriptions of the events and all the rest of it. No, just, she threw shade at a police officer. She didn't throw a fucking fire extinguisher at a police officer, did she? Interesting to note the disparity of coverage there.
Capitol riot. The New York Democrat took to Instagram Live to discuss her experiences during the January 6th rioting when rioters supporting President
Again,
Donald Trump
rioters.
stormed the U.S.
Just rioters, not insurrectionists, not terrorists, just rioters. It's just a silly little riot. I mean, come on now, people. Fuck's sake. I fucking hate Tim Pool. It's because he's such a dangerous person. Because he gets a lot of views, man, and he shouldn't, because he's such a lying shitbag. Fucking hell.
Committing acts of vandalism and postponing the certification of the 2020 Electoral College results as members of Congress were forced to evacuate the building. Hide, run and hide. Ocasio-Cortez recalled one of her staffers telling
run and hide.
After hearing loud banging on her office door, Ocasio-Cortez said she hid in her bathroom as she braced herself for her office to be breached. A man broke into her office. She said she could hear him yelling before and after he entered. Where is she? Where is she? I thought I was going to die, Ocasio-Cortez said. I have never been quieter in my entire life. Just as Democrats put out a clip of this video, her staffer, G.
Yeah, don't play any of the video. Just ramble, Tim.
Told her that it was safe to come out, she said, and she found that the man who had burst into her office...
Also, I like the fact that she's got a staffer called G. Nice.
...was actually a Capitol police officer, who she described as a white man in a black beanie. She described the officer's attitude as seemingly full of anger and hostility. It didn't feel right, she said, because he was looking at me with a tremendous amount of anger and hostility. Things weren't adding up. There was no partner there. He wasn't yelling, "This is Capitol Police, this is Capitol Police." And he was looking at me in all of this anger and hostility, Ocasio-Cortez said. I do not fault AOC for being scared. And a lot of people are trying to drag her, saying, targeting her for emotional reasons, whatever. No, I don't care. Look.
You already did, Tim. Fuck off. You literally opened the video by saying that. You fucking shitbag.
AOC clearly does not have the, what's the right word? I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but let's just be honest. She doesn't have the strength or fortitude of will to properly handle a situation like this.
What a fucking cunt. Oh my god. What the fuck is wrong with you, Tim? She survived that shit. Michael Tracy, the super awesome dude that you love, had a 70-year-old woman gently brush against his arm and called it physical assault. You fucking whinging like fuck because you had someone take your beanie off once, but she's not strong enough to do it. She's not strong enough to do it. She already did. Tim, you say she's not strong enough to deal with that. She literally has. She went through that. We are now, nearly a month later, 4 days short of a month later, and she's still in Congress. She's still voting for stuff. After that, she voted to impeach Donald Trump. Tim, she has dealt with it. The reality, as always, does not bear out your version of events.
That is not meant to be disrespectful to her. I don't expect her to be a war veteran who's experienced crisis, and I don't expect her to be someone who's hardened from our inner city streets. AOC lived, I guess she was like upstate New York in the Bronx. Not the worst.
Upstate New York in the Bronx? New Yorkers. Have I got any New Yorkers around? I don't know. But that seems like an oxymoron to me. Upstate New York means upstate from New York, right? And the Bronx is in New York City. So you can't be upstate New York in the Bronx. Am I correct in that assessment of geography? I don't know. Can we get some people who know? I'm from southern Missouri. Yes, I am correct. Yeah, I thought so. That was always my understanding, that upstate New York meant north of New York City. Like the rest, basically New York City and the rest of New York State, basically, right? But she's a middle-class person. Tim, you can't have it both ways. Is she a stupid, uneducated bartender, blah, 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 classist bullshit? Or is she like middle-class, prissy woman, from upstate New York, Bronx land? Like, come on. It can't be both.
Worst places in the world. I'm sure she has a general understanding of some kind of, what the street life can be like or whatever, but
Street life, it's the only place I know. Street life. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Tim Paul's on, so I'm just getting silly with it now.
Soft. Again, I'm not saying to be mean.
Yes, you are saying it to be mean, and you're saying it to be dishonest as well, Tim. Tim, again, you're saying she's too weak to handle this. She has handled this. She is still in Congress. She hasn't resigned. She hasn't shrunk away from the camera, clearly, because you literally just said that she's doing this thing. You're covering the story where nearly a month after the thing you said she couldn't handle has been handled, she's doing the fucking thing and saying, oh yeah, look, this is how we handled it.
Okay, come on. Like, we're not gonna sit here and pretend that AOC is a combat veteran or who has hostile environment training.
So? Like, literally, so what? You don't have to. It's only members of the military that can deal with any, like, hostile situation. Because I don't think that's true, is it, Timothy?
So when she hears a bang on the door, she gets terrified. I can respect that.
No, not just a bang on the door, Tim. They were under siege. By people who wanted to kill them.
Not everybody is a soldier, and that's why we have warriors, and that's why we respect soldiers, because they're the ones who have the strength of will and the confidence. It's not even about look. So I'll tell you this: firefighters, cops, soldiers, combat or otherwise, medics, they get scared too. But the difference between being a coward and being brave is not whether or not you're scared; it's whether or not you overcome the fear. AOC was able to get out of the situation, and she was terrified of these police officers. Now, I will be critical.
Okay, Tim, you've literally just outlined there why she's obviously not a coward then. Because she dealt with the situation. She was scared in the moment, but you already admitted warriors get scared in the moment, right? And she's still there. She hasn't shrunk away from it. She hasn't conceded to the terrorists, has she? I'd say she's pretty brave. A lot braver than you, sat in your armchair, wanking furiously over Michael Tracy. You're not getting the feet pics, Tim, Michael, Ben.
In some respect, I think that we need to have... there's a reason I'm a fan of Tulsi Gabbard. She is a major in the National Guard.
Because you're also a fascist, yeah. Yeah.
Plus, she's been just doing really, really awesome stuff in the past,
Yeah, the anti-trans stuff and the support for Assad and for Narendra Modi. Yeah, lots of awesome stuff. Lots of fascist stuff. Yeah. Fuck you both.
A couple of weeks, past month, she called out John Brennan and Adam Schiff as domestic enemies, and I'm just like, keep talking. I like it. But she's a major in the
Again, you're not getting feet pics from her, Tim. Just chill.
National Guard. I don't think she would be freaking out the situation. I don't want leaders in this country who are soft, wads of cookie dough, okay?
What, like Donald Trump, where there was the merest hint of civil unrest and he went and hid in a bunker? That dude? Oh, okay, yeah. No, I agree. Lord Frutus with $3. Thank you very much. Now we're talking about Tim Paul. I'll do my fucking thing. If you want to give me money, get the super chat involved and all the rest of it, you can donate via streamlabs.com/KFlogan1875. It's linked below. As indeed Lord Frutus did, with $3. Thank you very much. It's a regional expression from upstate New York. Well, I'm from the Bronx, and I've never heard the expression steamed hams. Oh, okay. Well, I'm from the Bronx, and I've never heard steamed hams. Well, yeah, but that just means you will have come into contact with people from the Bronx. And I know that's a Simpsons reference, by the way. Steamed hams is fun. Actually, there is an interesting little meme part of YouTube where there are lots of videos of steamed hams as different songs. The Green Day one was good, actually. I'll show you that briefly. There we go. So they take this infamous scene from the Simpsons of Skinner and Principal, whatever the fuck his name is, and set it to the music with the words and stuff. Anyway.
Well, see what I made it. despite your directions. Hope you're prepared for an unforgettable luncheon. Hey guys, my roast is ruined. What if I purchase fast food and disguise it as my own cooking? Delightfully devilish, Seymour. Superintendent, I was just stretching my calves on the windowsill. Isometric exercise. Here to join me?
Why is there smoke, Seymour?
Oh, that is just smoke and steam from the steam clamp wrapping.
It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. Oh, I fucking love it. It's so stupid. It's... Sorry, I got distracted.
I want people who are carved from stone. Now, I recognize sometimes politicians are politicians. Politicians are not warriors. You're going to get what you're going to get. But to criticize the police, this is what really gets me with this story.
Is it? Because you didn't seem that bothered that the fucking people murdered the police officer. That was fine, apparently. They're just crazy. Yeah.
A Capitol police officer rushed to your aid to help you escape as the...
You don't even know if it was the case. Okay? You don't know that, Tim. You weren't there. She was there. Now, I'm not saying her interpretation of events is necessarily correct, because I have no idea. I also wasn't there.
Rioters were breaking through the building. Why is your story about the cop deriding him? I'll also stress.
Oh, no, the poor police officer. Oh, how will he survive?
Almost just... God, I don't care, okay? I don't care. Do you care? I mean, how many people didn't even click this because they're like, so what? AOC, here we go again. You know, but like I said, this is the current big trending story that I think having, breaking down and providing some context on would be relevant. And I want to make sure I stress, now is not the time, guys. AOC, now is not the time to be dragging her and insulting her, which is why I'm trying my best.
No, you are dragging her and insulting her. How is she's weak not meant to be an insult, Tim? Please, genuinely try, explain that to me, Tim. Or anyone, if there are any Tim Stans in the audience here, please do try and explain to me how she's weak and can't deal with a thing is not an insult. I'm all ears.
To be critical in some degree, but while respecting her fear of what was going on. I can certainly understand never being, the first time I was in a situation where someone pulled out a gun, I was actually kind of young, so maybe I wouldn't have the same reaction as someone who's 30, who's never experienced a real conflict or crisis. I can respect that she was probably having a massive adrenaline spike. I can. And I would simply ask the left and AOC, y'all, can we focus on the GameStop stuff and
What? Motherfucker, A, no one is under any obligation to only focus on stories you're interested in. At least in part because you're only seemingly interested in, memes, rather than serious analysis of anything. Tim, she is a congressperson. They have to deal with everything, including the GameStop stuff, that is true. But literally everything. You can have legislation on anything at all, right? And indeed, not even just on legislation, but on, policy positions, on individuals you want potentially to endorse for different offices and all the rest of it, right? So why the fuck would she only focus on the GameStop stuff? And her talking about literally anything other than GameStop doesn't stop you from talking about GameStop. If you want to talk about GameStop, do so. The two things are so not connected. Just because you want to jerk off over her feet, Tim, which again will never happen, just because you want that to take place doesn't mean that when she speaks you have to comment on it. If you want to talk about GameStop, nothing's stopping you.
Not make viral trends out of arguing over whether or not this cop was full of anger or whatnot. It is what it is.
Again, she didn't make a viral trend. She explained a story, Tim. She took you through an emotionally harrowing experience she had. The viral trend is irrelevant. And also, again, just because it's a viral trend, you don't have to talk about it.
So much I can do. But personally, I do feel that talking about what this viral trend is an opportunity to kind of re-inject that narrative and to make sure you keep focused on what's happening with Wall Street, the hedge funds, because this is where there's unity. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop.
Is the Tim, because you were like sucking Trump's dick when all Trump ever did was going about how great the Wall Street's doing really well, awesome, super awesome, and you also backed that up several times. So the fact that you now are going to try and claim that you're against Wall Street is a joke. You're a fucking joke, Tim. You're a joke.
Stop. I'm going to go harder on AOC right now because
what a surprise.
I believe that what she's doing is one of the most dangerous things for this country.
Go right for now. It. Communism.
Well, maybe it's actually not. Maybe it's actually what she's doing in redirecting everyone's anger towards her. It's actually really good for this country.
Yeah, the fact that fucking man-baby pricks like you are angry at her is her fault. Good victim blaming, Timothy. You fucking cur.
You know, ignorance is bliss, they say, right?
And you are one of the most blissful people that's ever been fucking existed, Tim. Yeah, definitely.
And don't go after the GameStop stock and AMC and the short sellers and squeeze out these hedge funds.
Tim, what do you expect her to do about that now? There is no legislation before Congress about it, as of yet. The situation is still evolving. What do you think AOC alone can do about that? And also, again, no one is under any obligation to talk about something just because you're interested in it. The fucking entitlement from Tim Pool. Fuck you.
The system will carry on as always. The hedge funds will make their billions. They'll strip the value from the working class. The massive transfer of wealth will continue.
He cares about the working class now. Oh, okay. The fact that you've been sucking a supposed billionaire's dick for 5 years is supremely indifferent. That doesn't mean anything, does it, Tim?
And eventually it will lead to destabilization. It's possible that the GameStop rebellion could knock out a lot of these hedge funds, cause a massive SEC investigation, and then result in total destabilization, but maybe that's the right thing that needs to happen because it's called accountability. So long as AOC keeps making the viral trends about herself, it's great for her career, mind you. So, hey...
Hang on, what? How does her talking about a thing affect the GameStop story at all? You know that's not how it works. You know that because she's talking about a thing doesn't stop Congress from enacting changes to legislation regarding stock markets or agriculture subsidies or foreign policy stuff. It's not irrelevant. It's not relevant to anything, Tim. I don't know why you feel entitled to be like, no, we need to only talk about the GameStop thing. You fucking weird little child.
Hey, man, you got to respect the hustle. But how are we supposed to focus on the things that matter when you have people like AOC
Why have you decided this is the only thing that matters, though, Tim? You have independently just decided the GameStop thing is the only thing we should be talking about. Why? It's not... There are so many important things in America right now that you refuse to talk about, like the rise of fascism and stuff. Why is it that the GameStop thing, which is like a flash in the pan, okay? In a month's time, we won't be talking about, like, the fucking GME thing or anything like that, or the Dogecoin. It's a fucking meme, dude. Like, hopefully some positive change comes of it. I certainly hope that's the case, but it's not like a big epoch-defining story. The fact that you want to focus on it is because you're just a meme. A stupid, beanie meme.
Manipulating you. And let me give a message to those leftists who do watch these videos, especially the ones who want to clip this stuff out of context. Would you be willing to forego what we're seeing right now as regular people rise up to challenge the hedge funds because you would prefer to talk about AOC snapping back?
Why you've set up a dichotomy that's needless. Literally, one does not affect the other. AOC talking about her survivor status, both of terrorist assassination attempt and sexual assault, does not stop you or anyone else talking about GameStop. The two things are entirely separate. They do not interact, they do not overlap, they do not do anything to one another. They're both completely independent.
at the haters, and the haters snapping back at Michael Tracy.
Oh, don't attack Michael Tracy. No, Michael Tracy's a good boy. Don't attack the Michael Tracy.
And that's my criticism
Fucking
of AOC.
hate Tim Pool.
She derails the conversation. We are having a we're having a
How does she? How?
Very important discussion about this country. We have the likes of Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball and Rashida Tlaib agreeing with the likes of the Patriots.win, the former Donald Trump subreddit, and Donald Trump Jr. and Mike
Dickhead. AOC already tweeted out about this. Ted Cruz agreed with her. She also deliciously bitch-slapped Ted Cruz on Twitter, not physically. So she has already tweeted about this. This is already a thing she's well ahead of you on, you dickhead.
Cernovich and conservatives
Rapist
all sitting
Mike
there looking at each
Cernovich.
other saying, you know what, we got
Tim,
something big.
rapist Mike Cernovich. Rapist Mike Cernovich, okay?
Bigger going on. And AOC steps in immediately. And what does she do? She claims that, Ted Cruz was trying to have her murdered. Check this out.
Yeah, she did, yeah. Also, so you're going to say here, she's not talking about the GameStop thing, whilst referencing the thing that she said about GameStop on Twitter that Ted Cruz agreed with, at least, in theory.
Rep. Chip Roy calls on AOC to apologize for tweeting Cruz almost had me murdered. This is my criticism of Ocasio-Cortez. She's too good at what she does. I know. You're like, Tim, stop. No, listen.
You're such a weirdo, Tim. You're such a weird man. Fucking hell.
She is probably one of the best marketing people I've ever seen. We have this grand moment where Ted Cruz... So let me slow down. Here's what happens. The GameStop thing is happening. AOC tweets, I wish it was a stronger statement, but I'll give her respect for calling it out, saying, Robinhood suspended trading. I'll call a hearing if necessary.
Okay, so she did the thing. So you're saying, she's derailing the conversation. She's been involved in that conversation too. She's already come out and said that's fucked up. What do you want from her, Tim? Well, feet pics, but other than that, politically, what do you want from her?
If necessary, no, call a hearing, okay? Now there's going to be a hearing. We don't need if necessary. We need you to do it, but I do appreciate her calling it out, right?
Oh, right, so I even have to criticise her just for using the word if necessary. I think she meant, if no one else calls one, Tim. So, there's no point in 20, 30, 50, 100 of them all filing for a fucking thing. Yeah, probably. Because she was probably, back in New York. If next time I'm in DC, which is, the next week or whatever, there's no one called one, I'll call one. But there's been one called, so she didn't need to.
Ted Cruz responds saying, fully agree. And she responds taking everything about this grand moment where the left and the right are unified in targeting the hedge funds and Wall Street and the corrupt elites who are stripping away the value from the working class. And she says, you almost had me murdered.
That's true, though, Tim. He did almost have her murdered.
Boom, like that. Many on the left and the establishment who don't want to see Wall Street hurt. And they want the game to continue because they're taking from you.
Ted Cruz is one of those people. Tim, what? And I'll put this out to anyone on the right wing, okay? What piece of legislation that fundamentally reforms Wall Street do you think Ted Cruz would vote for? Now, reforms in a good way, not giving more power to billionaires, which is all he's ever done in his political life. What piece of fundamentally positive reform would he sign on to? The answer, dear friends, is that he wouldn't. He's clout chasing, and he's being performatively anti-Wall Street while having voted constantly to protect Wall Street his entire political life.
Many of these people shifted their eyes from the GameStop rebellion to AOC. She is a master of gaining that attention. And taking it away from things that are more deserving and more important.
Why, Tim, may I ask you, my friend, is a bunch of Reddit bros investing in the stock market more important than, well, anything else? Why why do you think, A, it's more important, and why do you think that she should find it more important? Because again, you're sort of demanding of AOC that she should prioritise the thing that you prioritise, which is enormously self-entitled from you, Tim. But also, you haven't given any reason as to why you think that she should. You're just saying, well, I like this story, she should only talk about this story. And even when she does talk about it, I'm still going to criticise her because she said the phrase, if necessary. It's almost like, Tim, you're a little bitch and you just want to jerk off over feet pics. I mean, send enough money my way, Tim, and I'll send you my fucking weird hairy feet pics. They are very hairy. I have hairy feet. I'm like a hobbit, but tall.
Which is why it's so fascinating to see that yesterday she does this stream, it's 1.4 million views or whatever, where she talks about what happened. Of course,
so jelly.
He's absolutely allowed to.
He's so jelly.
Like I said, you got to respect the hustle. Some people just have the ability to get the eyes on them, and she certainly has it. She has it in spades, and it's a problem.
She has it in feet.
Problem for us.
So, am I doing too many feet jokes? It's funny to me because these people are so sexually repressed.
If we're easily distracted by tabloid-style news, well, then we're not going to actually solve any of these problems. It breaks my heart a little bit because it makes me feel like maybe we can't.
Tim, how does it stop the? Oh, I'm just repeating myself, but how?
Maybe people prefer drama of, Michael Tracy and AOC and Ted Cruz than talking about what really matters. AOC certainly
Well, you
does.
are, Tim. You think it's so important to only talk about GameStop, and yet here you are not talking about GameStop. Like, what do you want?
I'm not trying to be mean to her,
Yes,
I have
you are.
disagreements and I don't like what she does, right? And I think it's fair to point out. When she comes out and she does these videos talking about herself all the time, and she does it all the time, it shifts the focus to her. She gains more
Tim, cry harder. I will use your tears to lubricate my balls.
followers.
Well, I put them in a jam jar.
Yeah, that is. Look, she has given you a master class in being a politician. It's the last thing we need. I remember the days of Occupy Wall Street and how identity politics.
No, we need shit politicians. That's way better because that's worked really well for 4 years.
Destroyed what should have been a class war by making it an identity.
Tim, you supported a billionaire for years. You don't get to turn around and now pretend to be a working class warrior. You fucking arsehole. Suck my balls.
War. It was brilliant.
Which again
on the
are lubricated with your tears.
part of the establishment. People came down, activists, and started telling the white people they were wrong and weren't allowed to speak, and that disrupted the effort. In the end, some banks moved money to credit unions. A lot of people moved money to credit.
Oh, shut up, you twat. Flamdar with $1, thank you very much, says, wow, you can buy 30, 60, or 10 Dogecoins with this, depending on volatility. True. That $1, Flamdar, could send Dogecoin to the moon. Very true.
Credit unions was a big boost for nonprofit banking institutions, credit unions. But it could have been more. People were holding up signs challenging the big banks and the establishment that strips your value. There's a theory going around right now on Reddit where they're talking about GameStop and they're saying what they think is happening, and I'll give you the very simple layman's terms, is that these hedge funds have been illegally selling stock that doesn't exist, essentially counterfeiting, to put it simply. And that if the GameStop people continue to hold, they will expose all of these institutions, triggering an SEC investigation, and people may go to jail. That's only...
Okay, but that's, I hope that's true. I hope people do go to jail, but...
only if people stay focused on it. What breaks my heart is that it looks like people just want the tribal warfare. They want...
Really, Tim? All you do is attack the left. So you don't get to fucking say, all people want is the tribal warfare, whilst you do tribal warfare.
Want the video of, AOC and Ted Cruz, and AOC tweets about Ted Cruz and murder, and these people just eat it all up. They don't care, I guess. The drama is more fun, life is boring. It breaks my heart. Let me show you something. Here's a tweet from me. I said, wow, Michael Tracy trending number 10 in the U.S. Y'all must be bored. There's a huge snowstorm. Go sledding or make snow angels.
Or suck my ass.
The trending tab says, Michael Tracy, journalist Michael Tracy's tweet sparks controversy for referencing emotional manipulation in describing the content of Ocasio-Cortez's Instagram Live. And he actually said, this is a masterclass in emotional manipulation, a genuine political rhetorical skill. Gotta hand it to her. I 100% agree. I've
Yeah, you're scum. Yes, that is true.
basically been agreeing with him the entirety of this the segment, and they went after him for it. Well, maybe I wouldn't say manipulation. I think AOC just has it naturally. I don't think she
He's so dumb. He's so fucking dumb.
decided to do a video because she wanted to divert eyes from GameStop, or that she wanted to she planned it out. There are some people who just do it. You know, they know how to make content, they know how to speak, they know how to generate attention. And from this, you see personalities rise. Michael Tracy himself, a journalist, knows how to generate attention. And he does it through journalism. He's also fairly like anti-woke and heterodox. He's not...
Tim, he's not a journalist. He's a suck sniffer. Literally.
Conservative in any capacity. Obviously,
he
you
is
can
a
say,
conservative.
I know how to
fuck you. He is a conservative, Tim. I know you're still doing the I'm a liberal grift. It's nonsense.
generate attention as well. And a lot of people don't like it. They say, oh, certain words are put in caps or whatever. Hey, look, man, it's all about an attention economy. I guess the main issue for me is that AOC is doing this in a political space. And in my opinion, the political space should...
Thank you to Javi with a raid. Thank you very much. Yeah, go and follow Javi, Canero de Izquierdas, or a leftist loudmouth on YouTube, and Javi Trino on Twitch. They're a fine Spanish comrade. Go and check them out forthwith.
probably chill out and be about people coming together, sitting down and having conversations to solve our problems. AOC, along with Trump, have turned it into a TV drama. Well, Michael Tracy gets roasted, and I don't even think this is the main tweet, but he kind of went to town. He got one where he got ratioed like 20. Here we go. Okay, so this is a tweet. 2,700 responses and 1,100 retweets.
Yeah, ratioed. Boom.
That's called a ratio, my friends.
Yeah.
Let me point something out. It's not the biggest ratio we've ever seen. I've been ratioed harder than that. Not in a bad way, though. I once tweeted...
Not in a bad way. Fucking hell, shut up.
A poll. Who do you trust more, the mainstream media or the government? And I got 20,000 responses from people like, nah. All right. Let me just show you this final piece. Obsessing over AOC only boosts your profile and her terrible ideas. From the New York Post yesterday. And this is from, I believe, before she did the stream. This is from Carol Markowitz. What will it take for Republicans to stop putting a socialist lawmaker in the spotlight? Either by lamely attempting to cooperate with her or succumbing to...
She's not really socialist in the sense that she's a social democrat. Now, I understand the lexicon is different in America, and by different, I mean wrong, but, you know, she's a social democrat, really.
The temptation to savage her inane online effusions, or both.
New York Post. So the journalistic sources he's cited so far have been Michael Tracy, lol, the Daily Caller, lol, and the New York Post, mega lol. Fuck's sake.
And thereby helping boost her profile. Last week, in the midst of GameStop mania, Senator Ted Cruz retweeted AOC, saying, I agree. It wasn't the first time Ted Cruz had gone out of his way to signal his agreement with AOC. In May 2019, Cruz signaled his concurrence with her call for a lifetime ban on lawmakers from becoming lobbyists. Here's something I don't say often, Cruz tweeted. On this point, I agree with AOC. Indeed, I have long called for a lifetime ban on former members of Congress becoming lobbyists. The swamp would hate it. But perhaps a chance for some...
He is the fucking swamp. I don't even know what they're talking about. He is the swamp. Fucking hell.
Bipartisan cooperation. And the pair did cooperate, working on a bill together that went nowhere. It's unfortunate, mind you.
Yeah, the New York Post is a Murdoch right-wing shithole rag. Yeah.
This time, though, she body slammed Cruz in response. I am happy to work with her.
Does he actually say that in the article? She body slammed. Imagine being so shit at journalism. She body slammed Cruz in a tweet. Fucking Christ.
Republicans on the issue where there's common ground. But wow. You, Cruz, almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago. So you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP member. This was crazy to me. We have bipartisan unity.
No, you don't. You have some cunt fucking tweeting a thing. Ted Cruz has not signed on to a bill. Ted Cruz has not said that he wants to actually fundamentally reform anything. He said, I agree, to a tweet, to chase clout. Because even though he's been in Congress a lot longer than AOC, he doesn't have the same media presence. He hasn't agreed to do anything. There's no bipartisanship here. He's just a dick.
Partisan issue where Ted Cruz and AOC, who should not be getting along, had an opportunity to say, at least on this, we agree. And I saw tons of high-profile left-wing personalities just start tweeting at her like slay queen and you get him. And I'm like, is that what you're worried about? Look, Ted Cruz has his...
You're worried about GameStop, so I mean, I don't even know what you're moaning about here.
Problems. But Ted Cruz is a cog in the machine, same as AOC. Can we focus on the bigger issues at play? Apparently we can't. And this is what really depresses me in all of this. Maybe we are just self-obsessed drama queens who would prefer to hear AOC and Ted Cruz snap back at each other instead of dealing with the actual problems that are affecting our country. And there you go. They say Cruz was understandably outraged, but what did he...
Almost a moment of clarity from Tim there.
Expect? Ocasio-Cortez is pointedly not a friend of anyone on the right. She's barely even a friend of...
Women know too much. I'm all for girls that don't know too much.
That's...
Pay attention to the pitch.
Grim advert.
Democrats. She's in the House to be outraged and to be outrageous. She's a self-described democratic socialist. Her purpose is to destroy the Ted Cruzes of this world and everything.
Is that how you... Ted Cruz's? Yes? I suppose it would be, wouldn't it? I don't know. That looks weird, though, but I think that's probably correct grammatically.
Thing they stand for. So why is he even bothering? You see, here's the problem. I will try to be respectful to AOC, but she will not return that. She will then say, I should not be respectful to people who tried to have me murdered, put her hands on her hips.
Oh, no. What, are you suggesting she should be respectful of people who tried to murder her, Tim? Okay, now.
If there's no communicating with the likes of AOC and the Democratic Socialists and the Squad, if there's no likes of actually negotiating on something we can agree with, when we're clearly staring down the barrel of the GameStop rebellion, an opportunity to actually have something done, or I should say, the barrel...
It's not a rebellion, Tim. It's some dickheads on the internet doing a cool thing.
...of disrupting it. AOC derails and derails and derails.
What are you talking about, Tim? You're literally fucking looking at an article where she tweeted out in support of the thing that you want her to support. And you're still criticising her. Which means she shouldn't take your opinion into account at all because you're not going to give her the fair shake that any person deserves.
When will the left realize she is poisoning their chance to actually have meaningful change?
What the fuck what are you talking about? She's been one of the most high-profile progressive forces in American politics for the last fucking century. Oh, yeah, Tim Paul's an idiot. And not just that, but he's doing the Milo Yiannopoulos thing of saying, this is how the left can win. I'm definitely telling you the truth here. I'm not lying to you. Honest. Like, why the fuck would anyone trust you? I don't trust you at all. You're an idiot. Look at this. Why can't we just get enough of the commie congresswoman from the Bronx? Commie congresswoman from the Bronx. How do you not view a sentence like that and know that this article is trash? Tim, fucking Christ.
My props to Rashida Tlaib, who said no new national security powers and who called out Robin Hood. I think Rashida Tlaib is substantially more legit. Actually,
Yeah, because she's substantially less, high profile, Tim. That's why you're saying that. Obviously.
Put it this way. I think Rashida Tlaib has bad opinions most of the time. And I don't like when she yelled, impeach the MFer. But I think she's legit. I mean it. I absolutely do.
MFer.
I think she believes what she says. I think she's there because she wants to demand change for the things she wants.
You're a propagandist.
I don't agree with
You're a fucking propagandist.
Changes she wants, but I can respect her in her and what I believe to be, for the most part, for now I can say this, seems to be genuine. And I respect it 100%.
Of course you do.
I will thank, respect, and ask her to continue and carry on. Rashida Tlaib, please get these hearings. I know they're going to happen, and challenge those who try and expand federal national security powers. And I will give you all the respect in the world for these moves. And I will criticize you when I disagree with you. I respect it. AOC has continually just made it about herself. And that's why she's going to keep succeeding.
Yeah, cry harder, you little bitch.
at it because she knows the game better than anyone. And now the left is going to these tribal leftists will pull clips out of this segment and they'll pull it out of context and they'll try to whip you up into tribal rage. So,
by the way, he's talking about Tim Pool clips there, who I had on the channel, which you can go and see. Yeah, he's Tim Pool's really butthurt that Tim Pool clips has been absolutely destroying him. Good stuff.
That you hate me, so that you hate other conservatives. Meanwhile, we're all desperately begging you.
Other conservatives? I thought you were a liberal, Tim.
To focus on what's happening with the hedge funds. It's the opportunity for Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump supporters to completely agree. For Donald Trump Jr. and Rashida Tlaib to completely agree on this issue, not anything else. But shouldn't that be enough to bring us together?
But they don't. Donald Trump literally spent his time going, oh, the stock market's up. That means the economy's brilliant. Like, Tim, they don't agree. Just saying that they agree generically about a meme doesn't mean anything when it actually comes down to trying to change anything. His understanding of how change happens is so... It's not even reductive. It's just... It's below baseline.
Facing a very serious conflict in this country. People are fighting in the streets. People have been killed in many different circumstances. And we do not want a massive outbreak of civil unrest, civil conflict, or even civil war. We want to find a way...
Civil war, there we go. Take a drink, everyone. Fucking hell, I thought we were going to get through the whole video without him mentioning civil war. Oof. Tim, you had me worried there, mate. I thought you'd been replaced by, like, a sensible person.
We can come together. And after we unify around this common enemy, the crony establishment that is stripping the value from the working class, and listen, about to...
Working class. How many times during the Trump administration did he use the word working class? Probably fewer times than he's used in this video, I imagine. Yeah, he's going to start playing the I'm a working class, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Okay, Tim.
Send them to go live out in the streets because they won't get the $2,000 stimulus check out. Biden won't do it. We have the deal with AOC.
Biden doesn't pass legislation, to be fair. Like, that's not how that... Again, that's not how that works. Now, he can get people around the table and try and make the legislature do a thing, but he can't actually make the legislation. Like, I agree. I don't think he wants to give out $2,000 checks because he's just a fucking centre-of-the-road dude who wants to do as little as possible, but... I mean, that's not the same thing. Trump was only doing it to piss with, to fuck with people.
Yeah. I don't care if you like her, but now's not the time. So listen, let's just be straight with y'all. I mentioned this earlier. There's only so many videos I can make about GameStop and what's currently happening. I can just tell you and remind you it exists.
Why, Tim? It's the only thing that's important. Why are you talking about anything else? It's the only thing in the world that matters.
But I will make sure to bring it up at every chance and point out, while this may be the big drama and it's what people want to hear about, I will use this as an opportunity to explain to you why it should not be what you want to hear about, and I hope you're focused on the real battle. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.
Suck my asshole. Seriously. That's ridiculous. Oh, Timothy. You are a douche. Yeah. That's basically me done for the day now. I think you've had enough of me. You've had enough of the Kev. And frankly, Kev's had enough of the Kev. I just want to say, Tim Pool's trash, Michael Tracy's trash, AOC is awesome. That if that's the takeaway from tonight, that's it. Tracy, trash. Pool, trash. AOC, not trash. There you go. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Bigly. Anyway. Yeah. I suppose before I go, I should do my regular sales pitch. Actually, what I will do, before I even do my sales pitch, what I'll do, I'll show you the thing that I've been doing. 1 second. No, I don't wish to switch my account. 1 second, everybody. I've been doing polls. I was told it's good for the algorithm. So I'll take you down to the Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Or just take you to my community page. Okay. Come on. No, Why are you being a dickhead? Stop being a dickhead. No. That's not right. That's not right at all. There we go. Here we go. Fuck me dead. Yes. So on my community page, if you just go onto the thing, go to my Kevin Logan channel. Again, you can subscribe to me there if you want to. I'm not currently subscribed to myself because that's not possible. That's not how it works. But anyway, so I've got some silly ones. I've got Are You Alive? Yes or no? And if you can rate, comment, go and click on the thumbs up, leave a comment and vote. It's all I ask of you people. Really, it's all I ask. And I'll post that in the chat of... there we go. It's in both of the chitty chats now. And you can go and check that out if you can. It helps the algorithm. I've never been like an algorithm chaser. I've never done that before. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of not doing it now because I put in the hard yards and YouTube doesn't give you the rewards. So I'm just going to chase the algorithm. Fuck it. Right, so I've got Are You Alive? Yes or no? Which historical figure am I most like? And you all fell for it. You all fell into my SpongeBob SquarePants trap. You fools! Got Napoleon Bonaparte, Genghis Khan, Joseph Stalin, SpongeBob SquarePants and Abraham Lincoln. And that was where the thing... Someone put Who Lives in a Pineapple Under the Sea, and I realised that Joseph Stalin works for that. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Joseph Stalin. It works. Anyway, where are we? There we go. I've also got Is My Content currently Awesome as Fuck is beating Poggers, Super Fucking Genius, The Best Thing in the History of History, Mildly Entertaining. So, if you want to go and check out the community tab, give those, like I say, thumbs up, comment, vote, all of that shit. I will be greatly appreciative. And thank you very much. Exactly. Blood to the blood gods, algorithm to the algorithm gods, or whatever. I don't fucking know. Anyway, whilst you're there, you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the Twitch channel. Well, follow the Twitch channel. It's the free version. It's the equivalent of subscription on YouTube. But when you subscribe on Twitch, that costs money rather than following. Following is the free version. Subscribing costs money. Unless you already have an Amazon Prime account, in which case you can subscribe to me for free on the YouTube, on Twitch, with the what do you call it thing? The Amazon Prime account, right? And we can redistribute the wealth from Jeff Bezos to me. Yeah, we'll impoverish the motherfucker in a few million years, probably. So, you know, worth that alone. That's worth the entrance price alone, surely. Anyway, yeah, so you can go and do that. If you want to make a one-off donation to me, you've got the streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. You've also got the PayPal. They're both linked below. If you want to make a recurring monthly donation, Patreon is there as well. You can also check out my social media. They're all linked below, my Facebook and Twitter. There's the Happy Hour Facebook group as well. All of the links, like I say, are under all my videos. So go and check them out forthwith. And thank you enormously for all of your support over many years, but in recent times especially. And I will see you all tomorrow on Twitch. Let me say, I'll kick everyone over to whoever the fuck is streaming right now on Twitch. Give it a second. Namiki Comst is doing a thing, so you can go and check out her. She's very good. And I'll wait a second because you have to. It's like a 6-second countdown until you can raid. Anyway, I will see you all tomorrow.